and it's what I call a blind buy. Okay, somebody gave me a list. It was a fellow I know very well, and it was a friend of his. They're both very good reputations in the hobby field locally. So he gave me a list. He said, I have 100 of these and 50 of those and 20 of these and whatnot. And just based on the list, I made an offer. I call it a blind offer because I didn't see any of it. I just had an idea of the quantity. So as you saw from the picture we used at the introduction of this, we got a number of large garbage bags and a couple of large boxes. And to be honest with you, I don't know what's in them. So join me on an adventure while I unbag and unbox these, and we can look at them together. So, first bag. Italeri Soviet Cossacks. I remember those. We've had those in the past. That's a really nice old school box of Airfix. German infantry. They were originally $2.29 at Hobby House. I'm guessing back in the 70s, maybe. These are those old solid guys that have been around forever. You still see them in some toy kits. Remember these guys? We used to curse them because we used oil paint on them, and the oil paint never stuck to them. We have some multi-pose figures. Airfix revolutionized the hobby back in the 70s when they made 6 figures in action, posable, separate arms, legs. They even had material to make straps for the guns. Monty's Humber. I remember trying to build that back I was in the 70s too. I am aging myself. Yeah, that's an old school one. $5.99 back in those days. Build a staff car. Oh, here's something a little interesting. I'm sure the fellow bought it because it's 132 scale to go with the various 132 scale models and that he was running. The old 37 Chev from Lifelike Hobbies. We have more multi-pose figures, U.S. Marines. And we have German Afrika Korps. Still in sealed boxes, which is always nice. More Afrika Korps. And their nemesis, the 8th Army. So far, everything's looking really nice. Old Tamiya BMW R75. It's kit number MM118, I think it is, which means this is an original. This would have been from the 70s. All nice and sealed inside. And you can judge by the size of these kits how much of these you can get into one of these big garbage bags. I remember those. That used to be the only way to get a 35th scale camel from Heller Models. The flat gun from Tamiya, still around. Ford Mutt. Kuba wagon. It's probably the old school. I think they've redone this kit and modernized it since then. Oh my. We have British infantry multi-pose figures. Now keep in mind, those are 32nd scale as opposed to 35th. Sometime back in the 70s, Airfix, Monogram, those companies went to 132nd scale, whereas Japanese manufacturers like Tamiya, Nishimo, Ataki, and so forth went 135th. I guess that's the difference between a metric scale that's divisible by 10 or 5 and an imperial scale, which is divisible by 12, right? Feet and inches. It's the old M4 Sherman tank from Rebel. It says it's 135th scale. I don't know. The 250 Grafe, otherwise known as Rommel's half-track. Eschi was kind of state-of-the-art back in the 70s. They put a lot more detail in their stuff, and they focused on things like supply wagons and horses and the lesser-known things of the military. Oh, here's some old stuff here. MP set. I think you can still get that when it's offered. There's a mule or a donkey from Heller. They made some interesting things. The old Dennis fire engine from Airfix. 132nd scale. Nito. There's a company that made some military models back in the day. This has got to be 70s kind of stuff. All very nicely sealed in the bag. Oh, look, and a motorization kit. You can have your little half-track trundling along if you so desire. And another vintage Tamiya, the Type B 1910 bus. That's got to be an original. The old Bill bus, yep. That kit has been reissued. I think it is currently available, or it was recently. There's an open Monty's Humber. I guess he liked Monty's Humber. I tried to build one when I was a kid in the 70s. Didn't go so well. STKZ222. It's an old original. The Russian field car. These kits still have MMs for the numbers. When you have MM in the beginning of a Tamiya kit, you know it's vintage. Speaking of monogram, Panzerjäger 4 with built-on Zimmerit. That was a big deal. I built a lot of these kits in the 70s. They were fun. They came with the figures and usually a diorama setting by the late Shepard Payne. Man, that guy inspired a lot of us to build models. Yeah, copyright 1973 on that one. And yes, I am old. 1940 Ford from Lindbergh. 32nd scale, compatible with a lot of what's going on here. The old Monogram 2.5 truck. Now, the weird thing about Monogram is they did a series of US Jeeps, Ducks, trucks, things like that in 1/35th scale, which was opposite to the 1/32nd scale they made all their tanks in. Don't ask me why, they just did. There's a 1/40th scale, the international scale for military models of an STKFZ 250. This is by Midori plastic kit. I'm not too familiar with them. Looks a little toy-like on the side picture, but hey, everybody had to start somewhere, right? So as we come to the end of bag one, I should say, we've got a Willys Jeep from Heller. We've got a vintage Tamiya. That's a metal kit of the 75mm pack howitzer or airborne howitzer. White metal kit. I remember those. I think that dates from the 70s as well. And we have a little conversion kit of some sort. Vacuform parts. That's old school. You don't see a lot of that used. You'd likely see something like this in resin nowadays. Okay, we got kind of cut off a little bit on the last one. It was just a little Vacuform conversion kit. Really outdated stuff. That finished bag one. Now we're going to delve into bag two. I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are, because this is almost like a trip back in history for me. I've been in the business 35 years, and I've been building models since I was 8. I'm like 60 now, so, you know, it's kind of a trip down memory lane. Here we have a 39 Ford sedan from AMT. Nothing special, but... oh, fail. Oh well, it happens. That's the thing a lot of people don't realize. When we buy kit collections and stuff, on the average, I'd say, no matter what quantity you buy, like 10% of them are messed. They're started. You know, it's not like somebody's trying to rip you off or anything. It's just they started them and they forgot they started them. They put them away, and when they cull kits to sell me or trade or whatever, they just pull everything out they don't want, and they don't really, you know, they don't check it that close. I remember these authentic kits. I think these were out in the 90s. There were things to do things with Sherman tanks, because you were very limited on the Sherman tanks you could buy at the time. I think they were just Tamiya ones or really basic models, and these would jazz them up and detail them out nicely. Oh, there's something neat. Peerless Max, 3/4 ton weapons carrier. These guys were putting out nice stuff back in the day when Tamiya was still putting batteries and such in their vehicles. They had opening doors. They had a lot more detail. You see a lot of them under the Italeri banner currently, but the originals were Peerless Max from Japan, and very nice kits. A few Tamiya accessories. They're always good to have. Barricades, garb wires. I mean, many of us young people built dioramas with them back in the day. Well, here's something really cool. A Commander wagon from Fujimi in 1/32nd scale. Looks like some kind of German staff car. I have not myself ever done or seen this kit, so it's really neat. It's a typical motorized kit for the day. Kind of nifty looking multicolor parts. That's a really cool one. Something a little different. And another Eschi wagon. We talked about Eschi and the kind of quality they were putting back in the day. Another MP conversion for Sherman. The Horse 4x4, I think that's still currently offered by Tamiya. And we're back to, back to those Eschi, the D-Mag D7. Really nice half track for its day. Quad gun tractor. Tamiya has put this out for years and continues to put this out for years. Stuart Honey, that's a little more recent offering. That's probably come out in the last, oh look at, he gave us all kinds of research material and articles and stuff to go with. Always fun. Let's hope the actual instructions are, oh yeah, I think I see them in the bottom. The Kangaroo. The APC version of the Sherman. Italeri was the first company to put out those kind of kits, and that was it for a long time. There's that MP company again. More Sherman stuff. Individual track links in styrene. We're almost at the bottom of this box. There's a Shanghai Dragon kit. Panzer IV L70. Looks like a somewhat original kit of the Ansaldo. M40. Italian self-propelled gun. Another Krupp truck. MM series, so an original release of a Japanese Chi-Ha tank. And some guns. That'll end bag number 2. We're going to go to one of the boxes next. Stay tuned.